sun is rising across this great United States, and that means straight from Hartsville, Texas, it is time for Clayton Douglas from the Free American League. Take it away, Clayton.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American. And my guest today is Dr. Jake Wade. He's the Dean of Timothy Bible College and the founder of the Little Red Schoolhouse and been my friend for many years. And I can't think of anyone that was more appropriate to have on my show today because today is April 19th. That's the day that started all this, that started my battle personally, because I watched what happened in Waco on April 19th. I watched it on television, and I swore to my wife at the time that I would never sit back and watch something like that happen again without trying to do something about it. And many people out there, if you were watching that TV, you believe that David Koresh or the Branch Davidians were responsible for the death of 74 men, women, and children who died in the Inferno at Waco on April 19th, 1993. This is the story that the FBI put. It is a lie. The guns they had were legal. The local sheriff investigated and found no basis for complaints against them. These were law-abiding American citizens, even if they thought differently to most other folks. They trusted the U.S. Constitution to ensure their political rights, but they were murdered by agents acting under the authority of the U.S. government. Now, Waco occurred during the presidency of Bill Clinton, with Janet Reno and Wesley Clark supporting Rhodes. Already back in 1993, the U.S. government demonstrated its contempt for the American people by carrying out a massacre in order to demonstrate on prime-time television its supposed authority, a tactic favored by fascist governments. Following the usurpation of the presidency in 2000 by the psychopath George W. Bush, the subsequent installation of the insane John Ashcroft as Bush's emperor, things became much worse. On 9/11, about 40 times as many people were murdered as at Waco. In both cases, the murderers have so far gone unpunished. Few Americans realize that on February 28, 1993, when VATF agents and National Guard helicopters zoomed in on the Branch Davidians' church and home, Mount Carmel Center, they did so with guns blazing, like Americans raiding a Vietnamese village in that far-off war. It is likely FBI agents deliberately sabotaged negotiations with Branch Davidians to prevent their exiting from Mount Carmel. Their goal was to destroy the building, its damaging evidence, even if it meant the massacre of dozens of men, women, and children, all witnesses to the brutal attack. After the February raid by the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, BATF, of David Koresh's dissident religious community at Waco, which had been there for 50 years, folks. It was an attack on Christianity, on a Christian church, however they believe. I mean, you want to argue between Christians whether the Sabbath is on Sunday or Saturday. That was the only thing that might just separate them from the churchiosity, from the religious farce, I think, that many of these Christian churches are. Now, this community, it wasn't even at Waco, it was Elk, Texas. The FBI and the U.S. Army took over. They mounted a 51-day siege, and this included such war tactics as sleep deprivation of the inhabitants of the community by means of all-night broadcasts and recordings of the screams of rabbits being slaughtered. And finally, despite David Koреш's pledge to surrender upon completion of his written explanation of the meaning of the Seven Seals, the FBI and Army attacked. On dawn on April 19, 1993, throughout the morning, tanks rammed holes in the main building, pumped in massive amounts, in the FBI's words, of CS gas into the building, despite knowing that inside were more than a dozen children. The tanks demolished part of the compound and created tunnels for the wind to blow through. The buildings at this point were saturated with flammable CS gas, spilled kerosene, and around midday, 2 military pyrotechnic devices were fired into the buildings, igniting the fire because the holes in the walls allowed the wind to go through, spread rapidly through the complex of the building, and became an inferno. 74 men, women, and children died, including 12 children younger than the 5 years of age. Fire trucks were prevented by the FBI from approaching the inferno. After the compound had burned down, the BATF flag was hoisted aloft to signify victory. Subsequently, the burned-out room was raised in an attempt to remove all evidence of this premeditated murder of innocent civilians by agents of the U.S. government. Thus occurred an atrocity which many Americans believe could never happen in their country. A lawyer for one of the survivors said that one of the U.S. government investigations, or rather whitewashes, in this country, when people are accused of a crime, they are arrested and given a trial, thus due process, and found guilty of murder, then maybe they are killed. We don't just kill them first, which is what happened at Waco. And folks, that's what launched me in 1994 to form the militias, to start the Free American magazine, which was on the newsstands in Barnes & Noble for 10 years until they tried to kill me too. My guest is Dr. Jake Wade. He's been with me through all this. Jake, welcome.
Good morning. Can I add 2 things to this thing that you just did?
Yes, sir. This is your show, sir. Yes, sir. You can do anything that you want.
Well, you left out, you presented the gas split facts as most people ought to know them by now, but you left 2 things out. One, and I don't know if anybody's ever looked at this, but the only difference, if you look at it very pragmatically, between a nice, quiet Amish settlement in Pennsylvania and the same kind of Bible-toting Christian settlement in Waco is guns. The Amish don't have any. They did in Waco. That is one glaring difference that has popped up in my mind. And the other thing is that they were attacked by a avowed, well-known homosexual attacking a Christian community, minding their own business and not bothering anybody. How'd I do on that?
You got Janet Reno nailed. Yes, sir. And by the way, folks, during this show, I'm also going to cover, after I started the militias and started the Free American, they again attacked and tried to demonize me by killing more children in Oklahoma City, and I interviewed the people that I'm going to let you listen to later, Poppy Heidelberg and Charles Key, member of the Oklahoma government, and they did that on April 19th also, which happens to be Patriots Day. And then they gave us the Patriot Act based on killing more children in New York City.
They're very clever. These people are very clever that are orchestrating this, and we know it goes back to the sinister bankers that have always run the hooligan mafia type war on humanity just for the sake of the almighty dollar and their own pride. But the way that, again, I pragmatically step back and look at this, and these people orchestrate this so that the blame for these things is put on some foreign or deranged terrorist group or somebody with a vendetta against the government because they're trying to, and you mentioned the term patriot. I think the bottom line is that we, the Christian patriot in this country, are very dangerous to their cause. We oppose it. We do not want to be oppressed. We do not want to serve other gods. And the only way we can be controlled is they can get our majority, the masses of our people, to be in fear. And so if we can say there is a group here and a group there, foreign countries or wherever they're coming from, Al-Qaeda, I don't care what label we put on them, we're going to terrorize our own patriots up to the point that even though they believe they should be patriotic and Christian, they're going to hide like the disciples did in a room somewhere for fear of being jailed or killed. So now they got control, and there is no mob to be big enough to be heard in wherever all the power comes from, because now they've got the voiceless quietness, and we've been dumbed down to the point that most people don't know any better. We're not taught truth. We're not taught history as it should have been taught, and we're certainly not taught Constitution. I've heard lately that somebody, I think was in Florida, was looking in his son's homework and saw a thing supposedly on the Constitution which begs the question, are you willing to give up rights in order to be safe? And this is what they were teaching 11-year-olds, how to give up your rights so that you can be safe from all the terrorists. And I think what they're doing, and you and I have no agree on this, is they have been promoting fear to the point that those, as in our fight for freedom back in the 1700s, they don't want that kind of independent thinking and that kind of valor to pop up because it can keep our masses, our majority. I think the majority of Americans are patriotic and probably even lean towards Christianity, but they're afraid, so they don't do anything. They're going to hide in the bushes for fear somebody's going to take what they've got. I had 21 people walk out and want a message delivered one Sunday morning. They're scaring us. The guns and badges are going to come and bother us. And I think that's just a microcosm of what goes on in this country and our leadership. As I mentioned to you and what I wrote this morning to you, uses this, or these people that are orchestrating this use incident to somehow perpetuate the fear which controls those who would oppose them.
You know, James R. Lewis said at the end of the chapter Self-Fulfilling Prophecy that the implications of these studies and supporting arguments for the Waco situation should be clear. The Branch Davidians' chances for a fair hearing were severely damaged as soon as the label cult was applied. After that, the mass media selectively sought out and presented information about Koresh and his community that conveniently fit these stereotypes. It was only a matter of time before law enforcement and the media had completely demonized Koresh and his followers. Anti-cult organizations, can you say ADL and Southern Poverty Law, provided ample fodder for the ritual and symbolic castigation of this little-known religious sect, which had been there in El Texas at that location for 50 years, ladies and gentlemen. They and that's simplistically to reduce the belief having said that, let me tell you folks that this is the reason I started the militia to protect you and your family if this ever happened again, which I swore I would not stand by and watch it. And I started the Free American because of the way the mainstream media covered that. CNN, Communist News Network, covered that. And having said that, let me remind you of what we lost.
If we allow Agenda 21, if we allow the UN to do Agenda 21, we're doing the same thing all over again, but nationwide.
Yes, sir. And I don't know how old your children are. I don't know how old your grandchildren are, ladies and gentlemen. But here's what we lost on April 19th. Lisa Martin, who was 13. Rachel Sylvia, who was 12. Joseph Martinez, who was 8. Crystal Martinez, who was 3. Audrey Martinez, 13. Chanel Andre, 1-year-old. Star Koresh, 6. Daylan Gent, 3. Ayana Schneider, 2. Serenity Jones, 4. Little One Jones, 2. Sheila Martin Jr., 15. Hollywood Sylvia, 1. Abigail Martinez, 11. Isaiah Martinez, 4. Melissa Morrison, 6. Cyrus Koresh, 8. Bobby Lane Koresh, 2. Paige Gent, 1. Startup Summers, 1. Shiga Jones, 2. And folks, I saw, and Barb, the reason, well, again, the reasons behind me becoming what I've become, doing what I have done, I saw the videos from the inside of Mount Carmel, from inside the living room, filled with children and their families and their parents.
Mr. Douglas, I have a question.
What?
Mr. Douglas, I have a question.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I'm confused. I'm terribly confused. You gave out the oldest one was 13.
Yes, sir.
That is a really horrifying, awful group of militia sitting there, probably so dastardly and so well trained and aggressive militarily that they had to have tanks with flamethrowers to handle the situation.
That's right, and they left Mayana Schneider. They left her father laying out there. They shot him when he was trying to get back to the house, not escaping from the house. And I saw videos that had been smuggled out and sent to a friend of mine in Dallas who was on the radio before I was. 50 caliber bullet holes. 50, a ceiling in this home filled with children was peppered with 50 caliber bullet holes in their ceiling. They were shooting at inside of this house from the helicopters. Now, folks, and because of what I've done, I've been called racist, anti-Semitic, everything else you can think of. And this was not an all-white community. These were people from all over the world, from all faiths, from all colors, from all races. And one of the reasons they attacked, and probably one of the reasons they attacked
biblically sound, but not dancing to the religiosity tune of ritual and pomp and circumstance.
They attacked Jesus for the same reason. They didn't like what he was saying. He was going against the Pharisees. He was going against the
He turned
Pharisees.
over their apple cart.
Yeah. Ran the money changers out of the temple, and not much has changed over 2,000 years, except
Literally bankers.
except
These guys weren't Pharisees, they were predominantly bankers.
well, that's right, and you can donate to their little religious statues. They'll create their own god, set up a statue, and expect you to donate to it. And that's about the same thing. I refer to these churches with the Masonic cornerstones and they call themselves Judeo-Christian.
You know what those cornerstones say?
What?
You know what those cornerstones say, Mr. Douglas? They're engraved in the stone. They're chiseled into the stone, and it says, worshipful master, and it's not Jesus. It's some guy named Smith or Jones.
Now that brings the question, Jay. Oh, let's see. We got somebody here in the chat room. Probably one of these, another one of these idiots. I got one of there calling himself Brother Clay, and somebody asked, was he having sex with children? Well, I don't believe that, but no, we'll never know because they killed all of the children, so nobody can testify. So what,
You know what David Koresh did?
What's that?
You know what David Koresh did in his dogma, his doctrine? He had gotten to the point in Kings where David had gone through some real trials, and his people in his entourage there, his cabinet, if you will, had gotten him a bunch of young virgin females and had sent them to his chamber to pacify him, to take care of him and make him feel better. And what David Koresh did, I believe, was to use that as a reason to go somewhat that same route. If that isn't true, in fact true, that maybe there were some youngish females that ended up in that situation. We don't know for sure, but I do know in his dogma that he had got to that point and didn't reach the part where David refused to dead those ladies that were sent to him. And as I said, one little slip in the dogma doesn't make him an evil man. If you talk to his followers, the people who were paying attention and listening to the teaching, they don't see that the way that it has been presented. They see him as a wonderful teacher, and truth be known, the Branch Davidians are still going.
That's right. They're still there. They rebuilt the church down there. So they're, and the attention is called to it. But this wasn't the first time. The Waco, what happened at Oklahoma City was almost as bad here. I'd like to, and it really relates to what's going on in Boston, what happened in Boston. Again, we've got government agents that were photographed there, and we saw the people that planted the bombs. They were trying to paint them as right-wing extremists, as Al Qaeda, and let me pronounce that properly, Al Qaeda. Now, let me. One of the again, when I did all this, when I started the militias here, I interviewed people. I had my radio show going in 1994, and supposedly when they killed him, when they gave him the death penalty, I published his death certificate in the Free American, and he was still working for the Army. That was his employer, the U.S. Army. Now let me play a little clip here, because this is what you can expect from the Boston investigation. Now we'll go back to Waco in a moment, but here's what you can expect for the Boston bombing. Hold on.
It will do so through the Boston. The FBI is taking the lead in this investigation. It is asserting federal jurisdiction. It will do so through the Boston Joint Terrorism Task Force, members of which are comprised by all the members of the law enforcement agencies here represented at the podium.
Well, initially that morning, all the media that was downtown there were reporting the truth. They were reporting the truth about the unexploded bombs, undetonated bombs being removed from the building. By afternoon, things began to ease a little bit. You could sense a difference, and by the next day, everybody but Channel 4 had changed their story completely.
One local station in Oklahoma City, KFOR-TV, did perform its duty by reporting on May's accomplices, the evidence of prior warnings, and many other aspects of the case. The New York Times Broadcasting Company purchased KFOR a year after the bombing. The programming director was fired, the lead journalist on the bombing, Jana Davis, was let go, and all reporting that contradicted the government vanished.
I was told by an agent, an FBI agent, that the comments that I've made, people like me, I can end up dead. I need to be careful what I said. I was in the way with about
My name is Hoppy Heidelberg, and I served on the federal grand jury that was supposed to investigate the Murrah bombing in Oklahoma City back in 1995. See, we were never allowed to see the photo evidence from the cameras on the Murrah building that would have shown the truck being parked and the people who got out of the truck. That's all on tape. And we were authorized to see all of that, but we weren't allowed to see it. In fact, nobody's been allowed to see it. All those tapes have been kept under wraps for 15 years.
I'm Charlie Rose. I'm with Legend Video Transfer, and the FBI had employed me to duplicate a number of videos for them shortly after the Murrah bombing. I was asked to duplicate approximately 400 tapes for the FBI. We had 2 FBI agents in the office. We had 2 studios set up for duplication, and each FBI agent was required to stay in a room with each of us that were in that room. Really didn't have the opportunity to sit back and watch the videos. There's probably a lot to learn, from the videos that they saw. Some of them are meaningless. Others, could make some powerful impact on what actually happened. The government will not release the film that was in the video cameras on the front of the building that would show whether I was accurate or not accurate.
Of course, the other Achilles heel is the videotapes of the building itself from the different surveillance cameras that no one has seen. If McVeigh, was Lee Harvey McVeigh all by himself alone that with a truck, then why don't they show us the videotapes of the truck? Show us the videotapes of him getting out. Or was there more than him in the truck?
There were like 22 films in the area that were confiscated by the FBI that would have shown the truck being pulled up, people getting out of the truck. It would have shown what was was going on at the time explosions took place. And obviously they confiscated those, and it didn't take much to figure out that the federal authorities weren't trying to get to the truth. They seemed to be covering up things. Their first objective was to protect the agency, not to do what's right, not to do justice, not to serve the American people. It's to protect themselves. And they will do anything to do that.
All right, Jake, I got you back now. That was what happened in Oklahoma City. And they used Oklahoma City to demonize me. It was shortly after that that Clay Douglas, the Free American magazine, appeared in the ADL's Armed and Dangerous. And shortly after that, 1996, because I was working with a presidential candidate by the name of Charles Collins, they tried to use that to demonize him and me under Southern Properties Law, false patriots. So I feel real close to this Waco massacre, to the Oklahoma City massacre, and when I refer to 9/11 as an exaggerated case of Jewish lightning, because Larry Silverstein, the Silverstein Company, purchased 9/11. Didn't purchase it. They didn't buy it. They leased it for $500 million, insured it for a couple of billion, and collected on it 3 months later. Now, folks, if you want to call me a conspiracy theorist, you want to call me anti-Semitic because of these organizations, the ADL and Southern Property Law, were the ones that tried to demonize Waco as a cult. And those are the people that are running your Department of Homeland Security right now. Jake?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If you take Waco out and look at it separate from the rest of these incidents, the thing that is glaring to me is that, we went into Iraq and we didn't annihilate all of the Iraqi people. We tried to get the head of the country or whatever, and in any skirmish, in any place where there is some kind of a military move that is deemed necessary, you try to get the head, you try to cut off the state's head or whatever. You don't kill innocent families in the process. And the thing that's unique about Waco is even if David Koresh was a terrible, terrible, awful, horrible person and some kind of monster, you take him out. You don't kill all the people around him who were not in the process, and they had the option to do it differently. It didn't. I mean, it's not like they couldn't have spoken to him at other times if he was such a desperate criminal. They didn't have to do what they did to all those, I don't know how many children that you counted off that were under 13 years of age. How are they compensatory in his efforts anyway? They can't be. It's unconscionable to me, and it kind of goes along with the anti-patriot thing, which has been perpetuated in our country, is that, okay, no longer should we stand behind our vets, and no longer should we provide them with super care. I've got something very close to home there. My wife has a torn Achilles tendon on her ankle, and it has bothered her chronic. It just won't go away. She got into an accident. And here we've got this basketball player, and I'm not downgrading Kobe Bryant, but I guarantee you he got the absolute best medical care and will get a settlement out of that would stagger anybody. And yet it's the exact same thing, and a vet, which my wife is, gets very little out of her situation sit and watch TV.
That's true. And I just had somebody on my show a couple of days ago, yesterday, matter of fact, Michael Conley, who is trying to help the vets, who is working for the vets, and he's saying the vets are being targeted. They're trying to take them away. They're trying to take them away. They're trying to take the guns away from the vets. They're using the pharmaceutical industry to do that. And, I've got an idiot on the chat room that's saying all of those people were, all those Branch Davidians were pedophiles. That was a pedophile ring. There's never been any proof. No, the sheriff investigated that. They're not. So this is just somebody else trying to demonize dead people and trying to justify the federal government going in and killing 17 or 22 little children because their parents might have done something wrong. What is this, man?
What if your chat room person had them come in and do that to his family?
That's right. And that's what they're going. I've told people, Jake. I've told people that you can consider me the canary in the coal mine. I mean, they have come after me. They will come after you. And this whole thing about Boston, I'd love to get your input on here. That Boston is another false flag, and actually I've got Lieutenant Colonel that's got that nailed. And after we come up for the second hour, I'll play that. It's all up on my Facebook page if you want to go there, folks. That's free. That's Facebook with Free American 69.
There's a movie out called Wag the Dog.
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman.
Everybody ought to get. The federal government, the president was in trouble at the polls, and his popularity was going down. He wasn't going to get reelected or something along that line, and they went and hired Robert De Niro and whoever. I don't remember the other one. Anyway, two guys. One of them was a producer and or director of movies, and they orchestrated, they put together what it amounted to. They made up a war, and then they got him a hero from that war who really wasn't a very good guy, but they produced this thing, and they used the media to convince the American people that it was real. And the problem is that they almost had to fight the war. It caused such backlash, it caused such a tremor that they almost ended up in the war. And I think that is often what goes on right here in this country. I think Hollywood once again got way too close to the truth for our comfort, because I think they do that. I think they find ways to enter into the media, something like the Boston thing, and use it to their advantage. Now they're going to say, well, we can't have these kind of things because of so much violence that it produces, and we're not going to be able to have marathons, and we're not going to be able to have anybody have guns because they're going to shoot kids with them. I think it all, the majority of this, I believe, to be orchestrated. It is our media treated like marionettes out there dancing around on our heads with what they want us to think.
Well, they don't call television programming for nothing. And that's what they're doing. The media is to keep you involved. Now, one of the people in the chat room said the reason the FBI wanted to conceal is because they were involved. The FBI has been involved in child pornography. Mossad has been involved in selling organs. probably couldn't,
Mr. Douglas, did you ever see the tape?
the tape,
Hello?
yes, what's that?
Did you ever see the tape of, I think it was the FBI, it got released, I don't remember how I got a hold of it, but they were sitting there with hidden cameras in a meeting where the group, a filled room of people were planning something in the order of the towers in New York. It seemed like to me it was 18 months or better prior to the actual incident. There were plans made for that, and the tape was aimed at revealing that the late FBI, CIA, one of those groups, was sitting there filming it. You know, with hidden cameras in their shirt pocket or whatever, but it was on tape.
I did not see that.
Well, I remember viewing that somewhere, and it seems to me that with all our so-called extremely good intelligence, why do we not do a better job unless we're trying to manipulate sentiment through the media? Why do we not do a better job of handling the information that we have? Seems like in this country we're not a Beirut, so I have problems understanding how these things happen, and some of them are orchestrated.
Well, we know that the FBI certainly provided the bombs when the first World Trade Center attack, the bombing in the basement of the World Trade Center. It was recorded that was involved, and we know that happened. And who knows, whether it was the Mossad, the FBI, CIA, or MI6 that provided the explosive experts in the World Trade Center, and that happened. It's
It just seems to me that we have allowed, like you said, the TV to program the majority of our people. We have a regime now that pays very little attention, and I know I'm probably putting my head out on the chopping block, but they pay very little attention to the law of the land. They're not going by the Constitution, and we've got a Congress full of 135 people up there who should be saying, wait a minute, we're going to go by the law of the land. It's called the Constitution. We're going to act like a Christian nation, which we claim to be. I see very little of that, and the American people should be enraged. We should say, wait a minute, this is what was fought, the revolution was fought about. Let's get away from the oppressive, dictatorial giant that has taken our rights from us. And we talk about military defense. Their one objective, according to the Constitution, is to protect my rights, either from without or from within, and the biggest taker of our rights has to be from within.
Well, we will take calls here, folks. If you want to call into 347-688-2902. And let me just get out of this chat room, because the people there, are if you want to, and it just really irritates me. There is friends of mine like Ted Gunderson, and after he is dead, they come out and think that they try to demonize him, try to do that. And now we've got another host on here that's trying to demonize the whole all of the Branch Davidians. All of the Branch Davidians. Now, and she thinks that I shouldn't be irritated about that. How stupid can you be? You know, that's as bad as trying to buy into the media saying oh we had to kill those 17 little children to save them from a child molester who had never been charged, never been convicted, and had been investigated. and this idiot is saying, oh, don't shoot the messenger, it just shows your ignorance, my ignorance, when you are trying to demonize and tarnish the reputation of almost 100 Christians, and you're trying to say, oh, well, the Koresh is working for the FBI, and those Christians were a child molester. Where do you get your information? My God.
Mr. Douglas.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Douglas.
Yes, sir.
Here's our problem nowadays. The reason you're getting that kind of flack is that you apparently have seared some consciences. And in order for me not to have my conscience hurt, I've got to demonize the guy with the searing tool. That's such a horrific incident and a blight on American history that nobody wants to take responsibility for it. You did, and it makes you somehow a weirdo when really, as an American patriot, we ought to all be doing it. We ought to all say, let's never let that repeat.
That's what I told my ex-wife. That's what I've done consistently. And I will continue to do that. I will continue to do that, and I will take calls. You can, okay, the story's deeper. I've been investigating for 20 years. How long have you been doing this? These people are... All right. I think I will just get out of this chat room here. They are idiots. And these are my fellow co-hosts on here, but go listen to their stories and believe what you want. I really don't care. Goodbye for you people. Okay. Now, let's get back to this. Jake, we've got a few minutes here. I want to keep you on for the second hour if we can. But I want you to listen to Lieutenant Colonel Potter here. So while I'm warming up my coffee, Jake, I'm going to switch my sound here to the other computer to be able to play this. So stay with me.
indoctrination program that it's not designed for individualism. It is not designed for self-thinking or motivation. It is designed for merely preparing what you might call as a workforce. And the initiative of the individual is not promoted. In fact, it is rejected. And I do believe, and Ron Paul a new push going, which I hope really gets going, and that is to help promote the homeschool approach or the private school approach.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Hang on, Jake. We got to take a break here. We'll talk about that on the second half of the show, if you can stay with me, if you're up to it. Meanwhile, you can warm your coffee up, and we'll be right back.
What do y'all want to remain a dictatorship? Oh, be quiet. Why are you guys so anti-dictator? Imagine after America was a dictatorship. You could make 1% of the people have all the nation's wealth. You could help your rich friends get richer by cutting their taxes and bailing them out when they gamble and lose. You could ignore the needs of the poor for healthcare and education. Your media would appear free, but would secretly be controlled by one person and his family. You could wiretap phones. You could torture foreign prisoners. You could have a rigged election. You could lie about why you go to war. You could fill your prisons with one particular racial group, and no one would complain. You could use the media to scare the people into supporting policies that are against their interests. Tune in Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time for Liberation Nation with Nick and John, where America comes to hear the truth. I know this is hard for you Americans to imagine, but please try. Thomas, a.k.a. Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind. Yes, that's right. Bring an open mind to the canvas. Yeah, and that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs, government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomsmith.com. Who do you need to expect us? We're already here. Now you can share the topics that drive the discussions of your favorite talk shows with TalkStream Live's Topic Driven Talk Radio. List and promote real-time talk radio topics, or post the topics that you want to hear. Hot topics are tweeted and retweeted, and include simple clip bulletin audio links. The future of talk radio is topic-driven talk radio. Available now at TalkStreamLive.com. Revolution. off-grid living, medical knowledge, or even natural or man-made EMPs on your list of personal concerns, you have your documents, your personal information in a safe place in your hands if you know where it is. Well, check out our preloaded EMP-proof thumb drive. Over 3 gigs of survival documents and how-tos, plus USDA awful like food preservation website, and much more, including a surprise bonus we just can't tell you. With plenty of room left over to store your most important documents. Imagine if a megavirus or computer failure took out your bank, or all the banks for that matter. Are your banking records safe in your hands? So when they get things fixed or repaired, you can say, hey, look, this is what I had. You have it, I want it back. Is your personal data safe? Family records, addresses, phone numbers? Squeeze on over to freedomslips.com. Yes, that's www.freedomslips.com. Click the banner on the homepage for the EMP-proof bullet drive to get the full scoop of everything that we offer. So, folks, keep your data safe for your peace of mind. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listeners-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
All right. We're back here. I think we're back here. Yes, sir. And you know, in the I've got out of the chat room because I don't want to hear that. We will take your calls if you're tuned in to Revolution Radio. But I won't tolerate somebody coming on my show or coming into the chat room on my show and spewing a bunch of nonsense that has never been proved, you know, and trying to demonize dead people. I simply won't allow that. Now, I'm going to try to bring up something else here. So, Jake, are you still with me? Okay, you still with me, Jake?